welcome to Mrs. P's Phonics, and this is for Group 1 in my class. So if I've told you to follow the Group 1 videos, then you are in the right place. This is the one that you need. If you are not in my class, but you want to start learning Phase 2 of Phonics, maybe you haven't started it in your class at school yet and you want to give it a little look, or you might be of preschool age and you would like to give it a go, then we are starting Phase 2 Phonics here. We're adding a little bit of Phase 1 as well. Phase 1 is a lot about learning to make sounds with your mouth and looking for rhymes in particular is what we will look at today in this lesson. So yes, we are learning to introduce the first sounds of Phase 2. And if you follow these Group 1 lessons, then that's what you'll keep seeing is Phase 2 sounds being introduced. So we'll do a little bit of that at the beginning. We'll learn how to write it, how to form it with a pen on a piece of paper. And we will also look at some rhyming words, which is a Phase 1 thing for phonics as well. Okay, so we are starting as if we have not done any sounds whatsoever in our phonics. So in my class in particular, so if you are watching this and you're in my class, you'll know that we do cursive writing, which is where we have little flicks to start letters off and little flicks to finish letters. And it just means that when it comes to when we're a little older, like year 2, year 3 at school, when we start to join our letters when we're writing, it will just make it that much easier because you've started off that way with these flicks to flick in the letter and flick out. It will leave you in the right place to join on to the next letters. If you don't do this at school or you don't want to do cursive, then just do the non-cursive form of what I'm showing you, okay? And I may just introduce that along the way, but I don't want to confuse the people in my class because we will be writing cursively. We also will read books in my class that won't have the cursive on, so we need to be able to recognise both non-cursive and cursive when we're reading books and we're reading the written words. Okay, so we will start our phonics off by introducing a new sound, and our new sound, or our first sound at Phase 2, is this one. Okay, now this is a cursive form of the letter a bit like the sound that a snake makes. So if you can make the sound for me now. So you have to have your teeth together and your tongue is kind of at the back of your teeth in your mouth, and you are kind of pushing your tongue against the top of your gums, making that sound there, okay? So this is the cursive S. Now, you must also be able to recognise it when it's non-cursive because it won't be written cursively in most reading books. So the non-cursive form, and I'll write it at the top here, looks kind of similar. It's just like this. Okay, so this is the non-cursive one, how you'll see it in your reading books. So if you look at the two, this one just starts with a cursive whoosh on it here, and then it finishes with one here, whereas the non-cursive one doesn't have any of those whooshes, but it basically looks the same, a bit like a wiggly worm or indeed a snake is what we are looking at. So when we come to read it, we recognise it as a sound, and when we come to write it, we know how to do it properly. Okay. Now, we do teach actions in my class, so there's a little story that goes with the introducing this new sound. And I've got my book here, it's a bit of an old one. It's a Jolly Phonics book, and it has a big story to it here on a big page. And you'll see up here that we have the non-cursive S written up here. This bigger one here is what's known as the capital S. And a capital is ones that we might use for our names. So if your name is Stephen or your name is Sienna, then you would need a capital S at the beginning of your name. Now, luckily with the capital S, it's just a bigger version of the lower non-cursive. So it's quite an easy one to remember, that capital version of this letter. Some capital versions of letters look a little bit different and so are harder to recognise or remember, but the S looks just like the non-cursive lowercase, but with just a bit bigger. Okay, so this is the capital S, and of course what I showed you before is the cursive S, which is the way you'll be writing it if you are in my class. Okay, so I'm going to read you the story because it will introduce the action. It says, a boy has taken his dog for a walk in the country. The dog is frightened by something in the grass and starts to bark. There is a sound and a snake slithers away. Now down here at the bottom of the book, it tells us that the action when we see so when I show you the flashcard, or if you see it in your books, then you need to make the sound. But also, can you make your hand into a shape like you're writing with your hand, which also happens to look a bit like a snake wriggling? Okay, so whenever I show you the letter card, and I would like you, especially if you're in my class, to make a snake-like or a shape with your hand moving backwards and forwards, a bit like the wiggle of the okay, so it's a little motion like this with your hand. See if you can practice doing it. Imagine your hand is a snake, and then you will say when you make that action and you see this letter. Okay, so our letter of the day, this is the sound it makes when we read it. Okay, and then we're going to have a go at writing it as well. So I'm going to get my board just here. Okay, now for my class, as I said, I want you to write it cursively, or learn to write it cursively. Now it is a tricky one to start off with, so for our first ever letter, it's a hard one, I won't lie to you, it is tricky, but if you can get this one sorted, you'll find the others so much easier. All right, it's not as bad as you think. All right, it's not too bad at all. I've introduced this before in classrooms and they've got it straight away. So I think you'll be all right. Okay. Now the best thing to do is poke your pokey finger out first of all. We're going to pretend this is our magic pen, and we're going to have a go at writing it in the air and on the carpet. Okay, so with your magic finger, not a pen, remember, I don't want to be blamed for lots of written on carpets. So you're going to put your finger out, okay, and with the cursive one, this is, remember, we always start at the bottom. We're always going to start at the bottom in my class with every cursive letter that we write, and we start at the bottom and we whoosh up and we start to curve. Can you see what I mean by curve, where it bends round? But then we stop and we come back round our curve, but wiggle round this way, wiggle round this way, and then before we finish, you must do our cursive tickle underneath the belly and a flick to finish there, okay? And that is our cursive. Let's have a go on, you can do it on the carpet, I'm going to do it on my table here. So I start at the bottom, I whoosh up, I curve, I wiggle round one way, wiggle round the other like a leading pathway, and then tickle the bottom. That was kind of tricky to see me do here. So now I'm going to take a pen and have a go at writing it on a board. If you don't have a board at home, that's fine. Use a piece of paper. Doesn't matter if you get it wrong, you can just put a line through it and have a go next to it. It's absolutely fine. Okay, so cursive. All right, we always start at the bottom. That's one good thing about cursive writing, not the only thing, but it's that you always know that you're going to start at the bottom and always whoosh upwards or curve upwards with every cursive letter. So we always know the right place to start, which is a big perk, a big good thing about cursive letter writing. So we start at the bottom and we do whoosh up and start to curve like I told you before. Look at that bendy curve over like that. But then I stop. Don't take my pen off, because my pen never comes off when I'm writing this letter. I come back following that curve I did. But when I get to here, I start to curve round this way. But then I think, no, I'm a wiggly snake. I want to curve back the other way. And then before my pen comes off, I just have to remember to go underneath, tickle the belly and flick up like that. So I finish in this direction, okay? So that is the cursive. Have a go at writing it lots of times on your board. So you start at the bottom, you go up to the top and curve, you curve back, curve around this way, but then you change your mind like the shape of a snake, and then you just tickle under the belly. Pause this video, have a good go at practicing yourself. If I hold it like that, you can pause it and have a good look at it while you have a go at writing your own ones. Now, if you're looking at that and thinking, what on earth is she writing? And you actually want to write a non-cursive one, then I'll do one for you now. So if you're not in my class, okay, you can do it like this. But don't get confused if you're in my class. I want you to do the cursive one. This is just for people that might be watching that aren't in my class. So if you're not doing a cursive one, you start at the top and you simply do the curve round, but then you're like a snake and you're curving back the other way and then your pen comes off. So that's a non-cursive, okay? But if you're in my class, I want you to have a go at the cursive one, which I know looks a little trickier, And you might think that's not fair, but honestly, it looks so much neater in the long run, and it will help you out when you get older to try and join your letters. So it's really good to start now. Plus, remember, you always start at the bottom on every letter I ever introduce. Start at the bottom, and you're going to curve round, curve back this way, but you're a snake, so you're curving the other way, and then just tickle the bottom to finish. Okay, and that's your cursives if you're in my class. So this is the one I would like you to do if you're in my class. Okay, now, some of you might have done that one in my class already, but remember, it's lots of visiting again, practicing again is the good thing to do to get absolutely perfect at it. Okay, so that is the letter S. We have read it, made the sound it makes, and we have wrote it. So busy bees already on our first phase 2 lesson. Now, I want to have a look at these 3 items I've got in front of me. I've got this. I've got this. And I've got one of these, which is clean, so it's not smelly, which is jolly handy, okay? So, the reason why I have shown you all of these, which is the salt, can you say salt? A sweet, sweet, and a sock, a sock. So I've got salt, sweet, and sock. Now, the reason why I've shown you all of these 3 things is because when you're saying them, can you hear the sound at the very beginning of the words? Not at the end, not the last sound you make, but the very first sound that comes out of your mouth when you first say these words. Salt, sweet, sock. Can you hear that it might just be the sound of the day? And that's because all of these three things start with the sound of the day. The S sound, you can hear it in salt, you can hear it in sweet, and you can hear it in sock. So all of these 3 things we know have a S, the sound of the day at the beginning of the word. That's quite interesting to know. Now, I said that we were going to do a little bit of what's called phase 1 phonics, and that's where we talk about rhyme, words that sound the same. They have similar sounds at the ends of the words very often in order to make them rhyme. Now I'm going to tilt my camera, excuse my hand a little bit, tilt my camera a bit so you can hopefully see my pictures that I've got on my table. I might have to hold them up actually because it's proving a little tricky to show you what's on the table. So I'm going to show you 3 cards, okay? And I'm going to, the words are written underneath, so that's very nice to be able to see how the words are spelt. But I'm going to say them to you, and then I want you to point at the screen to tell me which one is the odd one out. And when I say the odd one out, I mean the one word that doesn't rhyme with the other 2. 2 of them will have similar sounds at the end, or the same sounds at the end, so they will make a rhyme. 1 will not have the same sounds at the end at all and will therefore be the odd one out, and that will be the one you need to point to because it doesn't rhyme with the others. Let's do one as a practice run, and then we'll do some ones where you have more time to think about it. So I have got 3 pictures. I have got a train, terrain. I have got rain, rain. And I have got a plug, plug. So I have got train, rain, plug. Which one of these 3 does not rhyme, does not have the same sound at the end of the word? Train, rain, plug. Train, rain, plug. Train, rain, plug. Point to the one that doesn't have the rhyming sound. Train, rain, plug. Which one is the odd one out? Which one does not rhyme with the other 2? Train, rain, plug. So the odd one out is plug. It doesn't have the ain sound at the end. You can hear it in train, you can hear it in rain, but you can't hear it in plug. Train, rain, plug. Plug is the odd one out. Let's try it with 3 more. And I'm not going to tell you so quickly this time, so you've got more chance to point at the screen to say which one is the odd one out, which one doesn't rhyme with the other ones, okay? So we have got, in my 3 pictures here, we have got a dog, we have got a bat, we have got a frog. So let's go through those 3 again. We've got dog, bat, frog. So we're looking for the same sounds at the ends of the words, and that will mean they have a rhyme. Dog, bat, frog. Which 2 rhyme, and therefore which one is left? Which one is the odd one out? Dog, bat, frog. Which one is the odd one out and doesn't rhyme? Well, if you look, dog has an og sound at the end. Frog has an og sound at the end. So these 2 rhyme. So bat with an at sound at the end is the odd one out. So hopefully you pointed to bat and you got that one right. Let's try this one here. So I have got leg. I have got peg. I have got swing. Let's hear those again. Leg, peg, swing. Leg, peg, swing. Which one is the odd one out and doesn't rhyme with the other 2? Leg, peg, swing. Which one is the odd one out? Leg, peg, swing. Sorry, I'm not holding these very clearly. Which one is the odd one out? It is swing, because leg and peg have an egg sound at the end, so it rhymes, leg, peg, but swing does not have an egg sound at the end, so swing is the odd one out. Well done if you got that right. Let's do one more. So I have got bun, fox, box. So I have got bun, fox, box. Remember, you're looking at those end sounds. Which ones sound the same? Which ones rhyme? And which one sounds different is the odd one out? Bun, fox, box. So out of these 3, bun, fox and box, the odd one out is, point to the screen, bun, because fox and box both have an ox sound on the end, so they rhyme and bun does not, so it's the odd one out. Right, okay, so if you want to have a go at doing that at home as well, you can do. So you could get some items that rhyme, maybe pictures or real items at home, 2 that rhyme and 1 that does not, and you can pick out the odd one out, okay? It's really good to work with rhyme. It's really playing around with those sounds and really helps you to so when you start your phase 2 and really listening out for the sounds that words make, okay? So it's been great to have you here to learn our first sound of the day, which was, of course, so we're going to see if you can remember that one tomorrow. I'm going to bring back this flashcard tomorrow and see if you can remember what sound it makes and the action too. And I'll also introduce you to a new sound tomorrow, okay? So this is your first step towards reading and writing. So well done, you guys, and pat yourselves on the back. Fantastic. See you next time. Bye-bye.